Okay, got it. Thank you.
We are recording.
Yes, we are now recording.
Hey, Liz.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay. I was just telling Nancy I'm having major allergy problems. And like I take 3 shots every week. And most of the time, most people don't know I have allergies. Well, I told her I was going to put myself on mute and probably turn the video off and pop in when I need to. It's just not fun. And how is Greece today?
Hello, Greece, lovely, nice. A little bit of rain, but nice.
Mm-hmm. We started off with pretty weather here, but it's looks like it's starting to cloud up, but it's cold here today.
Well, it's so cold that I have to put a sweater on Asen just so he can go outside and do his business.
Wow. Well, he's short-haired anyhow. Yeah.
I put a sweater on, he went outside, and all he did, normally he stays out and runs and plays for 5 or 10 minutes. Nope, he went outside, pooped, and came back in.
Too damn cold out here, Mom. It was 27 or 28 here this overnight, and it's still pretty cold. I had to turn the heat back on, and so that's like under 0 for centigrade.
All right, Fahrenheit here.
Well, I know, but I don't know. I think Liz is probably centigrade.
Yeah, when you said 27, I'm thinking warm. 27 is warm.
No, it's not here.
Right now it's 40.
So I could
Fahrenheit. So today's warmer. Yesterday was really cold.
Yeah, that's probably about 10 or 15 degrees centigrade. I could do my conversion. I can't do it in my head because it's a real pain in the butt calculation. So when I was taking IT classes, I actually made myself a little chart. Pardon?
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hi everybody.
Hi, Harriet.
Well, good afternoon to you guys, and good evening to Elizabeth.
Good evening to you, Harriet.
Hello, South Africa. Hey, Harriet.
Are you two in the same time zone, Harriet and Liz?
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Straight line down.
Yep, straight
10 o'clock. Just a few minutes after 10 here.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's so hot. Oh my word, it's just ridiculous. Is it also very hot your side? No. You are on the other side, so it's freezing in your side and very, very hot this side. You can't sleep at all.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Don't you have aircon? Don't you have aircon?
No. Open the balcony doors in the evening. Get the fresh sea air coming in.
Yeah, if you're on the coast, that's not too bad.
What about mosquitoes? Do you have mosquitoes?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
Not often. Sometimes, yeah. We haven't had mosquitoes for a long time, eh? No. I think it's because we had lots of dry summers. We had drought here, so.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Mm.
Two newest people are muted. So I don't know if Nydia knows how to unmute herself, obviously, but Kitika, I don't know how you pronounce that.
Hi, I'm
There you
good.
go.
I just don't
Good. Now you're not muted.
keeping quiet.
I'm muted because I'm having bad allergy problems. And I go into about a 20-minute cycle of sneezing. So I would let you guys not have to deal with that.
Nancy, you're in the dark.
Yes.
Yes,
I thought about doing that.
I don't have the overhead light on, and I didn't want to put it on today, so.
I get that.
Yeah. I seldom have lights on during the day.
How's everybody's 2022 going so far?
so far. Keep your fingers crossed.
I know,
Oh, it's going.
Pretty similar to 21 at this point.
it's so far. I went out yesterday and purchased a couple of boxes of N95 masks
Yeah.
because of, just amazingly, the biggest numbers of new COVID cases per day in my state and my county.
Everywhere.
Thousands and
Everywhere.
thousands, 10, 12,000 a day. We never saw those even in the height last winter, a year ago. We never saw those numbers.
Are the people going to the hospital, or is it just
Oh,
positive?
no, the hospitals are 98% full. And, I don't think as many, although the number of deaths is still pretty bad. And unfortunately, it's the people who have not become vaccinated who
Actually, that's not totally
paying
true.
the price here.
The highest numbers are those right now, at least in my state, are under the age of 30. And it's as far as how they're recovering, they're not going to the hospitals because it's really no worse than a bad case of the flu. It's gone in about 5 days.
Well, unfortunately here, I'm sure most of the cases are that, but there's enough other cases that our hospitals are absolutely bursting. The Dane County, where I live, has 3 major hospitals and none of them they're not doing anything pretty much unless it's a full-on emergency or COVID.
Yeah.
That's it.
There are a lot of children in the hospitals here.
Yeah.
We hit the
More
highest
children
number
than before.
and over the 2020 numbers. I think we had 13 or 14,000 people test positive on Friday. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's like here too, Nydia. That's what's happening here.
Our
state of
7-year-old
5.5
granddaughter
million.
had COVID, just recovered from COVID.
What's that?
Our 7-year-old granddaughter just recovered now from COVID.
Did she have a bad case?
No, just like as if it's flu.
Yeah.
The
Body
one
aches
that's
and
hitting the kids is, and anybody under 30 is of course still a kid to me.
Yeah.
It's like the flu. I got one client that she tested positive last Saturday. She's totally over it and can go back to work on Monday, which is 10 days from first symptoms.
Yeah, basically it
and
takes
she's-
like a week and then it's done.
Yeah, it takes about a week.
Yeah, my son and his partner, this is the second time that they had COVID. First off, last year they had the Delta variant and this time Omicron. But in both cases, didn't have to be hospitalized, thank God. And this time it was just like a week, and Lal said it was just like having a bad case of flu.
Yeah.
Which is no picnic, but definitely a lot better than it could be.
Right.
Yes. But our cases are dropping this side, and our
That's
tenant upstairs, she works at the local hospital. She's a nurse there, and she said like 95% of the COVID cases there is people who are not vaccinated, and it's Omicron.
In the
Yeah.
hospital.
But the cases are dropping outside. So
Yeah, they
I think
said
for
that South
summer
Africa-
now, so
Yeah.
it helps.
I'm hoping that Omicron moves through so fast because everybody who's going to get it gets it, and it just moves so fast that it'll blow through, and we'll be done by February with the worst.
That's the way it's going right now. Maybe once this one's done and over with, then that'll be it. It's no more.
I hope so.
One can hope.
From here out to God's ears.
One can
Because
hope.
this one,
Apparently they
this
found
one
another
is,
variant.
this one
isn't it?
is ignoring masks. Even people that are vigilant with their mask wearing, they're still.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if vaccinated, they're getting it. So
But
Yeah,
are they
vaccinated.
dying or are they just getting a bad cold?
Yeah,
no, they're actually testing positive.
Yeah, but they're not getting really ill, right? The vaccinated ones, it's the unvaccinated ones.
not as many are getting really ill.
They're
right.
all, it's all about the same. It's either a bad cold or a light flu or a bad flu. And
Whether
that's,
they're vaccinated or not?
Yeah.
That's
No,
not,
the unvaccinated are much more likely to end up in the hospital.
that's the way it is here.
That's the way it is here. They put the numbers out every now and then and.
Two of my girls and their husbands and their kids and various other family members, so altogether about 17 people just went away, left the island and went away to a mountain resort here. They left on Tuesday, they came back today, and they've all got COVID. All of them,
Wow.
No.
Oh, my goodness.
kids included, and all but one person was vaccinated, and they've all got it. And one of my daughters, it's the second time she's got it, her and her husband. They had it in September.
But
They've been,
are they
they've
really
been
sick?
vaccinated, they got it in September, and now they got it again.
Different variants.
Are they very sick or are they just, they've,
No, they weren't sick the last time either, really. But my daughter, who hasn't been vaccinated, she's got like a bad flu. She feels like the flu, temperature and weak, you know, and body aches and stuff like that. But it's everywhere. Nobody does it. There's nobody in the world who doesn't know somebody who's got it.
I have one client who had it and is now getting over it. And I have one who was potentially exposed. She has a 2-family flat and it's the son of the person that lives upstairs from her. He told her that he had it. His mom said, no, it was just a sinus infection. We have to treat it as if she has it.
Yeah,
So she's in quarantine. She's not very happy.
no.
She goes, well, he said he did. I said, nope. You told me that he said he had it. He tested positive. I have to treat it that way. And you are now quarantined for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Well,
And
that's
you're,
so,
and you're still.
can't my
requiring-
trainer come over? No, your trainer cannot come over. No, you cannot go on activities.
Yeah, she would not like that. So they're still making them do 2 full weeks, even though the CDC has lowered that.
If they are exposed, we are required
Okay.
to do 2 full weeks. Now, if I'm exposed, now they changed the rules. Because remember, I had 2 in my household last month.
Yeah,
I had to be quarantined for 2 weeks and do a telephone health assessment with my manager. Which is basically, how you feeling? Do you have fever? Did you get sick? Nope. How's the family? Fine. Okay, you can go back to work. Now, in order for me to go back to work after, I have to wait 10 days and then test negative. But-
we have to,
But if
I-
people have it, they cannot have a negative test because the antibodies or whatever stays in your system for at least 3 months. And you'll test positive. So they have to be symptom-free for 3 days.
the rules seem to be changing every day.
And they do,
It's
Oh,
all-
yeah.
they do. I mean, our agency was
Terrible.
following one set and then something comes up, then it does something else, and then it does something else and goes on and on. Changes constantly. It's a pain.
Total
What
pain.
So no more COVID conversation. Let's cut COVID. Finish.
Yeah. Not really what we're here for.
oh, let's talk
So
about.
does everybody have the new book?
I ordered it.
I do. I haven't read it yet, but I have it on my Kindle, but I haven't read it yet. Haven't
I've
had
read
time.
parts of it.
I read it on the Kindle and I enjoyed it, but I'm really enjoying the paper more than the Kindle for this book because I'm being able to reference and I'm marking it up.
Yeah.
Down the road, I might get a hardback that I'm going to keep nice, but for right now, I'm going to enjoy using this as like a workbook.
Well, it is. It's a reference book, so it should be used, you know?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting the paper copy because of the illustrations. Kindles are, I have a Paperwhite and it's
doesn't-
great for reading and it's great for reading outdoors and stuff, but it's not very good with illustrations.
Right. And
Kathleen, show us some of the illustrations. Lift up the book and show us some of the illustrations.
Because I don't have the paper.
the illustration will come through on this camera, but
A little bit, just a little bit.
I mean, there's stuff like this. Let me, let's
you
see if I can get
Hold
it.
it, yeah, back.
Let me see if I can give you the one drawing that she did that is so impressive to me.
Somehow you are in focus, but everything around you is not.
I've got that blur background.
Probably
Yeah,
have the
so
blur
then that
background.
blurs your book. If you can
Yeah.
turn it off.
I have to
then
put
you
the
could
book over my
see.
face, I think, for
Yeah, that's a good idea.
or change the background, which would take me a minute. But this one is very light, so I'm not sure you can see it. I'm going to put it right over my face. So can you see it?
No,
No.
it's weird.
It's
No.
blurred.
You don't, it's face, it's human like your
It's
hands,
facial recognition, yeah.
your hands are in
So you
focus.
probably
but
have to
not-
turn the blur off.
Yeah,
to
I
make
think
sure-
you could just
Drawing a base of
It on Discord.
that'll take me a minute. I'm not really zoomed. I have to figure out how to do that.
Never mind.
Just go to stop video, the little, at the bottom, the little arrow, and then you'll get your virtual background, I think, or the
Stop
video
video.
filter.
Okay.
Yeah, it brings up a little menu
Yeah,
and then you go to video settings or choose virtual background.
Hang
or
on,
one of
let me
those.
try. Let me try. Oh,
yeah, I don't
there
know
we
where
go.
you do the blur.
It should
Mine
say,
is on choose virtual set or virtual backgrounds is where my
Well,
blur.
I've got it on no background now. Let's see what happens.
okay, now turn your video back on.
Cover up my house, but okay. Now it shouldn't be blurred.
It's
And now-
not,
Yeah.
it's good.
Now let's see if I can get back to that one page with this drawing. It's a very light drawing anyway. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Of Asen,
That's a picture of Asen.
Asen.
It's Asen, yeah.
yeah,
And there are lots of other, all of them are black and white, but when you're looking at the book in person, it's great. There are maps and charts. And some of the charts were on the Kindle version too, but there's stuff like this where they were doing mathematics and figuring things out.
oh, yeah.
There's all kinds of interesting things, and I haven't totally gotten through it yet, but it's going to be all marked up. And I'm really, and I don't do that with her books, but and there's this map. We've all seen this map, but
Yeah.
it's lots of, and the back cover, I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yeah,
It's got the maps for,
Very nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've got the mug with the maps.
Pardon?
I've got the mug with the maps.
Yeah.
So when I'm
so do
checking
I.
the maps, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have it. I'm so used to reading the Kindle at night. Like you said, the Paperwhite and everything, and I got this up at night. I said, I can't read this at night.
Yeah.
So I've got to make daytime time to do it.
Or you have to have a light on to read it.
Yeah, it's more light in
Right,
my
too.
bedroom than I like.
I have a small book light that attaches to the book.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have one of those when I was reading books. I'd have to see if I can find it.
That's kind of, that's what I don't know what happened to it. It sits around the house here somewhere because I so seldom read a regular book anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the drawings. One of the items in there is mine.
Really?
That's
Yes.
so exciting. Congratulations.
Which item is yours?
Calendar.
Oh, the calendar, yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you read in the very beginning, it says used with permission by me.
Yeah, I haven't read all the permissions, but
She did that. Oh, what, you did that when Vera was.
Oh, what did I,
working on Wayne?
Liz, how many years ago was that? 5, 6?
At least, yeah.
Way back at the very beginning, we did the calendar.
Yeah.
have to pay
I mean,
attention.
it was before Win came out. that we were doing.
Yeah, it was when she was
calculations.
That's a
working on
long
Win.
time ago. Wow.
Because Win had all these dates for when they landed, and you were helping Vera figure that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was
We
that
looked
before
at
Dragon
calendar
Con?
because of the discrepancy with Asen's age, you know, in Compete, where she
Yes.
said Asen is 20 something. And I commented to Vera on Facebook that he could, on Wattpad, that he couldn't be 20, he had to be at least 23. And I'd worked out the age difference and
Mhm.
gave her the formula. And then we all got to working on doing the whole calendar.
I
But
remember,
Nancy
some,
typed
I
it up,
remember
Nancy
some of that.
typed it
I
up
do
really
remember some of
beautifully, so
that.
we put that one.
That page is gonna have a Post-it note, I think.
What, the one with the calendar?
Yeah.
Nancy did this.
If I recall, it has my name on it, so I probably underneath it or something.
And you'd think I picked up on that. Was the calendar in the Kindle version? Somehow I didn't.
I think so. No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
it is. It
They're
is.
not
I-
Because I had
displaying.
to send her a special black and white version because the ones I have are all in color. And she's got it like taped to her wall or whatever, that she uses to figure out dates and stuff.
We'll have to make a trivia question out of that.
idea. Yeah, I remember the discussion about it. So it was before Dragon Con or after Dragon Con when you did that?
Before.
Well,
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, long before, yeah.
I can't remember when I started interacting with everybody, but I know I got to know everybody at Dragon Con a little bit.
Yes,
Bad day for my knee.
yes.
I remember that.
I
did
was so much pain, it wasn't even funny.
I mean,
I'm
Shelley
sorry.
and I were hanging out in her hotel room all weekend.
Yeah, that would have been fun. Well, and I'm supposed to go to Puerto Rico in March, and so I got on the treadmill the other day and made myself walk a mile just to see if I could do it.
All right.
So we'll
That's-
see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta keep walking.
I just have to do it carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ask some like super random questions, but like at the time that you guys were all reading, say, Compete, what was the thought about the last chapter? I know we've already talked about stuff like this on the forum like thousands of times, but still.
What was it?
What's the question?
Oh, the question is just like, what were your thoughts when you were reading the last chapter of Compete? I know this is something we've talked about so much already, but
Oh, what were our
okay, you
thoughts
want to know what
reading
what our thoughts were?
yeah, like in
last
general.
chapter
Hey,
of,
Win, I need Win. That's what my
Oh my god, it was the same. I struggled for 3 weeks trying to see when the previews were coming out, and I was almost crying, and all of my friends knew that I was like so desperate to read the next chapters. It was just they were all sick of me.
The one thing that confused me, okay, and we did discuss this on the forum, and because when he claimed her as his bride, I thought that was it. That's the wedding. She is,
oh,
I did too.
because in some customs, that's the way you get married.
yeah.
yeah,
You're
I
married,
was
and
so
I'm going,
confused about that. I know.
okay, why are these people talking about, they're married? They're,
Yeah, like
they're just-
I understand what you mean. Oh my god. I looked at that chapter and I was like, oh, now they're married. Now this is not just like it's an engagement. It's not just a betrothal. It's marriage. It's done. It's done and dusted. We're never gonna see an actual marriage.
We would have missed a big part of the story.
True.
well, yeah, that's true, because then I got to thinking, okay, so how is she going to get into the games? I mean, the thing with me, it wasn't important for her to be a participant in the games.
True. I thought that she would have gotten out of it because of the whole, oh, she's now royalty, so why would she have to participate? But then
Yeah, I mean, the story would have gone a totally different way. I did not see her in, but if you think about the events the way they happened, had it not been for her competing in the games, the people of Atlantis would have always hated her. The games
I see. I think
Oh,
that
that's
are
right.
to
a
them.
completely
But
different
if,
direction.
if she didn't compete in the games,
They would have all
then
died.
both Earth
That's
and
Yeah, they would have all died.
Atlantis, everybody would be dead.
Honestly, I think she would have found a way to uproot the entire ancient spaceship anyways. I don't know, man. She finds a way, you know?
Yeah, that's, I mean, she had to get the secret of the Atlantis Grail.
Exactly. I
Really,
think that would have happened regardless. That like events of where and how that happens and when that happens would have been quite different. I feel like
true.
I mean, this is a completely random question, but if you had to change, like, say, take events in a different direction from compete onwards, like before win officially starts, what would you do? If, let's just say, if you had to change something out in the games itself.
That's a hard question.
What do you mean something that happened?
It's a thinking one.
Do you mean like something that happened in the games?
Yeah, or anything in general. If you had to change the direction where the story was going, say you had to reach the same conclusion, but you can take a different path, what would you do?
Whoa,
I'm not a writer. I wouldn't have a clue.
yeah.
It's not about writing. We're just fans discussing the same book series. Doesn't matter what a writer would think.
But we don't get much information about the pre-trial games except from what the boys were talking about when they were watching Manala, hover screen.
Yeah.
True.
And so we're not exactly sure how the people that got there beat out, how many people applied, how many people got in.
Well, we do know how many people got in.
5,000.
Yeah, we know how many got
It was
in, but we don't know
5,000.
how many competed before.
Right.
But we don't know how many that tried in the
Yeah, you don't know how many
pre-trial.
to try it out.
We do know that with Lolu's family, that she and her brother were the only two that made it out of their family, and they all decided to go into the
All the
pre-trial.
kids, yeah,
And their dad.
yeah.
Well,
You
we
know
don't know
what?
how
What
big
I
her
was
family
thinking
was.
about
So.
was Aizen telling her when he said that the reason why they also brought them there because their society is stagnant.
Yes.
That made me think that the Atlanteans, does that mean that I know what stagnant means, but do they have small families or large families?
Yeah, we
Because
actually don't have much
thousands of
information about
people were
like,
competing
the world in
and
general.
died in those games every single year. If you think, how many
That's why-
died even in
probably
the
why there's only 1
pre-trial?
billion
How
on the
many
whole
died
planet.
even just?
I
in the
feel like it's a
pre-trial?
little bit illogical on my like world perspective wise, but like on the world building that Vera has herself established, it makes tons of sense because like their society is supposed to be sort of stuck in one place and they're reluctant to face change. So it's just like a constant thing of aristocracy suppressing the common people, and there's like a whole subhuman thing happening, slavery type of deal. It's kind of messy, but I mean that's the charm of, let's just say, how she brings about a change. I mean, I don't know if any of you have read the Selection series, but faintly, the world building of Atlantis itself reminds me of Selection because of the whole like district section thing there happening. So because there were like 13, 14 districts, and you would be like 8 districts. And you could be the lowest one, which was 8, and then you would basically be on the bottom rung of society. So like you're not really considered for anything. Almost similar to how like the second class citizen, third class citizen deal happening in Atlantis.
Mhm.
Yeah, you see it with education, where Anu's family came from. Why isn't there equal education for the whole of this highly technological, advanced sort of country?
I think in any book, there's like some level of suspension of like belief of what you think would be logical. But then you could argue that in a like such an advanced place, the more like importance you place on your like lineage the more anybody else is disregarded. So education and like stuff like that is just not even considered at that level. If you have enough to eat, that's like the best part. I mean, obviously that has like quite a lot of inspiration from real world elements of our world, but that's my opinion.
Well, if
on
you
it.
think about it, Anu couldn't read or write.
Exactly.
Right, they got nothing out. And look at how
mean, it
large
was-
the
you were
families
taught-
were out there.
You
They
were
had
taught by
lots of
your
kids.
parents. And if the parents didn't have a formal education, or it was what importance they put on education, it was there, it was available, but they didn't put any importance on it.
So like definitely take the
subsistence
real life
level.
element to it.
I mean, they were fishermen and they were living at subsistence level. Education to them wasn't that important. It was
No.
like, this is
Exactly.
our life.
I'm not sure they even had access to it in his village.
Yeah, I really
Um,
don't think that at that level of society, where like it's so rural, you're not really considering whether education is part of the deal or not. It's just like, can we live another day? Can we keep
Yeah.
going with our
Yeah.
daily lives? And if you
Wasn't
have
it a-
after that sometime, then maybe you think about, oh, can I learn something else? Now that's really how most geniuses in the world are neglected. So
wasn't,
I mean, when I was reading the novella, which was recently, because I've just finally gotten the time to catch up on everything. But when I was reading the novella, it really struck me how Asen himself got such higher education from the beginning, like of his life. And then once he joins his other peers, he realizes that they did not get the same kind of education. And inside, obviously, he knows something like that. He's a prince, obviously. Like he has to have some knowledge about how common people live and like think. But it's just so interesting to see that their first formal schooling of anything, in general, knowledge wise, education wise, starts from when they start to go to school, like at the age of 7. So, and he had it for those 7 years that did end up being like, not for him, they were part of his formal education. So
Sarah, you were going to say something?
well, I was just gonna mention that some of the people that were in the academy with him, like who was the roommate that was from a mining family and was paying his own way.
his name starts with
He-
T and it's on the tip of my
Oh,
tongue, but I can't
The
remember.
guy
sorry?
that died on Earth in that shuttle accident. What's his name?
Tilha,
Yeah.
Tilha. I think
Talia.
Tilha.
Kathleen, you've got the reference book. Go look it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
really overhot.
I meant
Yeah.
that,
I don't know, was he the one from the mining family? I can't remember.
no,
Yeah, I
no, no, it was
was
a,
one, and he
it was a
worked
boy.
it
I
out.
remember reading that
He
He paid for himself.
Arita was there on a
Mine.
scholarship. Arita was there on a scholarship.
Yeah.
I haven't
Talia
figured out how
worked
to
in
use it that
mine.
well yet.
The other boy from the first year was from a mining family and he was paying his own way by working summers.
Right, he had to work.
Yeah,
on
every
the off
single
time.
holiday. I remember
So
reading that.
that makes
actually.
me question, at what level do they drop off the accessibility to education?
I don't think we know that yet.
No.
I was laughing the other
Because
day.
there's adult classes that they can also take.
I have to
Okay.
figure out how to use
Lifelong
books.
learners
If
if
you
they want.
have no, let's just say if you have no education starting from your childhood, it's really hard to get jobs, even like in our world. If I'm saying it like that, if you don't have any education, there's practically no socially acceptable good jobs that you could get that pay you enough for you to pursue anything else in your life, you know? It's like
But it
at
did
that
happen,
level,
it did happen with Anu. So
But wasn't the
mean,
scope of
I
his,
think
wasn't the scope of his, his objective of his trip to go to really far out places
Yes.
that they hadn't, so the people hadn't been exposed to regular school. And Anu was found with one of those searches.
Yeah.
Right.
so I honestly, he got really lucky that he was found. Like he could have just been somebody dropped some mistake somewhere or thought of like, decide to neglect something, and then it's suddenly you don't have the the helper that you have today. Somebody who makes you laugh and like gives you the kind of help that you actually do need. So his, I think, was a lucky break more than being able to access education later in his
No,
life.
but they sent, but he was not the only one allowed because
Yeah.
Asen was saying that they sent out scouts all over the country looking for people like Anu.
Haven't they
And they
given
do
some
all these,
tests?
and then like in Anu's case, the medicine woman or somebody, the chief woman or something,
The head
she
woman.
did the test. She was testing everybody there, and then he was flagged.
Right.
But so there were opportunities for people like Anu.
But the fact that they had to set up a special program to go and find the people within the community that weren't normally educated shows you just how much of the community is not educated, or the country's people aren't educated.
But it also showed that they were putting importance on education in Atlantis.
The imperator wanted to find some more smart people for the fleet.
Exactly. Like, I don't think it's about education. It's more about, can we get more people to I hate the word, but exploit in on a base sense. It was more like
how I saw.
exploitation.
That's kind of how I saw when I first read Qualified. I was like, this is really nice that they're doing this. Now, what's the catch? Are we going to have cannon fodder for the troops? Is there a bad alien coming? And of course, when I heard about the aliens, I said, aha. But it wasn't quite, as you got into Survive, you found a little bit more out of it. But that was my big question as I read Qualified.
Okay, the pilot that died, there are two of them. But the one that I'm thinking was Tiliar.
Yeah.
Tiliar Bahad.
Yeah.
And he ended up being in Blue Quadrant. But he's one of the ones that was killed.
I was so sad when I realized that he had the bed next to Asen. It was so sad.
Yeah, and that's what makes Asen Blue so important, is we get to learn that, and then you go back to rereading the books, and you say, oh wow, he's known this guy since he was 7 years old. It wasn't just a pilot in the fleet this was his roomie. And you realize how important Irita becomes to him. I mean, she's the most straight shooting person as far as telling him what's going on than anybody.
And she was his first date. I mean, nobody can take that away from her.
That's important.
But she was really, Oala, yes, they got really, really close, but Oala's high court. And she knows what she can and can't do. Irita just didn't give a darn.
Yeah.
Irita's my favorite. Which is refreshing, obviously, because when you're surrounded by people who behave in a certain way around you, it's like having somebody who's not, hiding behind that mask is really nice. But I just think it's a little bit on my part, I think it's a little bit a lot of suspension of belief that him being a prince and part of a royal court, let's just say, didn't already have sort of, I use the term black bellied because that's what I've been using all my life. But on the inside, it's just a little bit dark, a little bit. So I just think that's my thing. But I'm he's just so innocent on some levels that it's a little bit hard to believe.
You also see the side of Asen that we see in Manala. How socially awkward she is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he never had peers. That's the reason he hadn't had peers. He never had normal interaction like we know it with he never had any friends until he went to that. And even then he had to hide it from his father, that he couldn't call, he called them his associates when he talked to his father about them. So he was very, very innocent actually when it came to awkward, actually not innocent, very awkward when it came to interaction with people his age.
And whenever Asen was uncomfortable or uncomfortable in a social situation, he would always fall back on his protocol, on his royal protocol. And he would become more aloof and observant and just, and untouchable. And he would do
More
that.
royal. More
Royal. And he would do, and you'd see that throughout the books, that you could tell now rereading them, why
Actually,
he was
it's
that
really
way.
interesting to
And then
observe.
along comes Gwen, who totally
And Gwen would
upsets
just
the
knock
apple
right through
cart.
that. Yeah.
And, hey, get off your high horse. You're no better than I am.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
in
that's
a
one much,
different way,
and it was so, it was so reminiscent of Arita with him as a 7-year-old.
You know what I found very
But
interesting?
Arita knew
is
he
that
was the
Asen
prince.
is a lot
There's a difference there. Sorry.
that
There's a difference there because Arita knew from the start that he was a prince and Gwen had no clue.
Yeah.
So of course she
Exactly.
wasn't going to treat him. I mean, she wasn't going to
She
treat him
knew
like
he was a
royalty because
bigwig, though.
well, she
I
knew he
mean,
was a bigwig, but she didn't know.
I would love to argue that
extent.
since he was technically her superior, she should have already been like, I'm gonna stay away, especially since I'm clearly not supposed to be near your kind with all of the friends that I have, especially in qualify and compete. And when she finally got to know that he was a prince, that should have changed like their dynamic a little bit. But it stayed the same mostly the entire book series until Win came about. But
Well, it stayed the same because the characters didn't change.
yeah, I think that's something I feel like we lost track of.
Their changes were internal, and we didn't. I mean, we saw Gwen's internal changes, but we didn't see Asen's.
Well, maybe we will.
Well,
Yeah, you
that
did.
there were changes
Yeah,
going
maybe we
forward.
will. That's exciting.
I
You
was
know,
going
you
to say, what I find very interesting is when Asen went to, in Asen Blue, when he went to the dance, and he said he was, the whole evening, he was so conscious of seeing Eri, what's the name?
Alikara?
Alikara. And it was like the whole time he was trying, he was tracking her with his eyes. And wasn't that exactly what Gwen did with him? When at that very first dance, she was always so conscious, where is he looking for him?
Well,
I thought it
and
was so the same.
if you go even further back, that's also the way that she was with Logan when she
With Logan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
those are
kind
the
of
things that we
ridiculous.
didn't see, but yeah, she was secretly stalking him.
I love your word of the use
Secretly
stalking. It's
stalking.
very
Well, that's what she was doing. I mean,
It's
she
very appropriate.
want to
She
be in the
was
same room he
definitely
was in,
stalking
and
him.
she's checking him out. And he could have cared less.
Well, Awala,
That,
Awala thought that he
Asen didn't
could.
feel that way. But yet
He only cared,
doing it.
he only cared when she could do something for him. Logan not being my favorite person.
Logan not being your favorite person, clearly.
Well, no, Logan's not my favorite person either. You know that.
You know, you
I'm
asked
gonna
a question
say
at the very
it's probably gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I ship Gwen and Logan more than I ship Gwen and Asen.
Oh no.
No way.
No
But there's
way.
a lot of
So
people
you're
that
like
like
a team Jacob. That's what that is.
No, I
I'm kidding.
love
I'm
Ethan. I
kidding.
really love his character. Like I made him my let's just say my favorite character out of everything I've ever read, which is a lot of books, but I've talked about him so much, all of my friends are tired of me listening about like this particular- but I'm like, on a basis of whether compatibility wise, I do really think that Logan and Gwen are more compatible than Gwen and Asen.
well,
He didn't ask her to the dance. He expected her to be all dressed up for a date that he never asked her out on. No ways.
Again, but like,
No,
like
no.
there was no asking out in Asen's case either. By either.
But
person.
no, it's not the same case at all. Logan just expected her to be all dressed up, and she didn't even know he was gonna be there. No ways. I don't like that when a guy looks like that.
One of the reasons I don't like Logan, one of many reasons, is the fact that he assumed Gwen was like every other girl that he had ever met.
Yep.
She was going to fall all over him. She was going to do everything in her in her whatever to make sure that she was pleasing to him because he
Yeah.
it. All right.
It's
And
the only thing he had ever experienced. He had no
That
reason
guy
to
had
think-
ambition.
until he got to
He
know her.
had
He had no
ambition.
reason to think she would be any different because
he
that's
never
the
got
way
the
all the
chance- he
girls
never
were.
really
were.
had the chance to get to know
You can't
her.
hold that against him. I don't think you can hold that against him. He's only 18.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
not
I
making-
don't
Well,
like
that's
the
true.
guy.
I mean,
I
he
think
was-
he used Gwen quite a bit. Like, I think he used Gwen quite a bit. So I don't like his character per se. I just think that Gwen and Logan are more compatible than Gwen and Ethan.
No,
but that's
because
my personal
Gwen,
opinion.
Logan
You
would
don't have
have
to take it
dominated.
seriously. You can keep your hill and I'll keep mine.
Logan would
That's
have
fair.
dominated. And Gwen would have been, perfectly fine with, taking this, subservient role, but he would have dominated the relationship.
Again, like she never said that she wanted that kind of equal relationship. From the beginning, it was first of all a
She
one-sided
didn't
crush
know what
for
she wanted.
years.
She was 16. She didn't know what she wanted.
She was very young.
She
Also,
was 18 when she got married.
On another, at the beginning of this conversation, you asked, what would you change in the book if you could change anything? And what I would change, and I don't think this would have changed the direction of the book that much, or the books, I would have liked Gwen's mother not to die.
Oh, yes.
I would have too.
Because I'd like
I
to
would
see,
too.
I'd like to know how that, continued. And, but I mean, I know it was a dramatic thing and it was part of the games and all, but I would have liked to see that not happen.
I've always felt that Gwen's mother died because Vera's mother died.
That's exactly right, Liz.
Oh,
That's exactly it. And it had to be that way for
Gwen's
Vera.
mother died because what? I missed that.
Vera's mother died
I
Oh,
agree.
because Vera's mother died.
while she was writing
And-
these books.
And the
Yeah.
fact that Margot died was a major plot point in the entire book. It
The Emperor was planning on using
it showed a
revenge.
totally different dynamic from Gracie.
True, but I think that could have been achieved in like much different ways. Like if I had to change something, I changed her. Like when Gwen was in the games and she was like, "I'm not going to kill anyone." I would have liked to see that change, that she's willing to go that far to make herself safe for, I don't know. It just seems like something that would be so unlikely in a literal killing game.
Well, she
like, where
did kill someone in Qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
she killed
accidental.
someone in
but it's
Qualify and
not-
absolutely hated herself for it. So
It wasn't really deliberate though.
no,
She never
it
made the
wasn't.
choice to actually do that.
Didn't make the choice, but like she sort of witnessed the killing rather than do the killing herself. I think what would really put them at an equal level, Gwen and Asen, I mean, would have been, because obviously Asen has already experienced something like doing like, being in like sort of a warlike situation or being in that environment where maybe killing somebody is what is required. And like Gwen was put in somewhat of the same environment, but it's literally a game for your life where you either live or you die. And like for the other person, it's the same. You either live or you die. And so like it's the survival part. The thing that really made me a little bit uncomfortable was that she just decided not to kill a single person. Well, I love that she kept her sentiment and her morals and like her bottom line and whatever. I just think it's so unlikely that she would have been able to get away without killing anyone out of the so many people that she was competing against.
But see, again, you're missing Gwen's core personality.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
It
her.
would
At
have been,
her
it would have been
core,
totally out of
That was
character
just
for her to
something that
deliberately
she
kill
could
anyone.
not do. Now, does it mean that she would never do it? No, she could. I mean, she
You're forgetting that in the first stage, she did shoot at somebody. She missed. She wasn't accredited. The person neither died or didn't, whatever. She doesn't know, but she did shoot at somebody. She had to, and she shot it.
But she was using that stun gun thing.
Yeah, she was using the
wasn't-
stun gun when she
Honestly,
talked.
what I mean is that I would have liked to see a change in her character, like the base of her character, because it stays pretty consistent the entire time. Well, I have no
Yeah,
problem
because
with it.
that
Like,
is her character. I mean, you're not going to change the essence of a person.
Right.
You don't
You're-
really change.
You have your core, and that never
Yeah.
changes.
That
Don't
all
you think
doesn't
that's part of the
change.
reason that they accepted her in the end as their future imperatrice is the fact that she did not want to harm anybody? And I think if I was going to have, I mean, being American, we don't have kings and so forth, but if we were going to have a monarch, God, I'd prefer one that really didn't want to kill people.
That
I would
and
like
character.
to, I would just
Oh, yeah,
like to
can you just
witness
imagine
that
Thalassa?
Oh, God.
No, I
I
would
don't
just
know
like
if they
to-
admired her for that. I think they admired the
Rachel, I
fact that
made
she
you do a
survived
face
and did
plant.
so well. But I don't know that the
Yeah.
fact that she killed her didn't
Because
kill
their
her.
entire thing in the
Effect on
entire games period was the fact that they enjoyed the yearly kill fest, for
Bloodbath.
the lack of
Yeah,
a better word.
just like the
Go all the
Romans.
way
It's
back
a
to
huge
Rome.
festival for them.
Go all the way back to Rome. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what the Caesars
Yeah.
all said.
Gladiator.
Give them the
I think
circus
they saw her
and
character.
bread and you'll win the populace.
I
I
thought
think the
they
reason
saw
that
her
they
character
accepted
and that she
her-
cared about people.
Yeah,
And
I
that
think
was,
that-
and then, I mean,
I
you
don't
know,
think
there were,
that would have changed. Like her not killing people is like a moral baseline, not like the core of her character. Like the core of her character is her curiosity, her kindness, her willingness to improve on many levels. But like
she
killing someone is just her moral baseline. She's just like, I don't want to kill people. And as much as I agree with that, I'm like, that situation already put you in the situation to be able to experience that for yourself, and it makes no
Yeah,
sense
but if you can avoid killing, then you don't kill.
right.
And that is what she
and I
was trying to do
agree.
all the time, run
You
and
know-
hide and try not to kill. You know, she didn't go hunt. Like a lot of the teams,
I'm not talking
power
about
teams went out to
hunting.
hunt. She was, if you can avoid killing, you do not kill. And that
Well,
was
and you also must remember too, that Gwen is not, I mean, yes, she was prepared, but she wasn't as prepared as some of those, as the majority of the rest of,
yeah.
you know, she had a lot of
Obviously,
advantages.
like the
She had
whole
the gravity to
planet
deal
thing was
with.
thrown at her out of the blue, and like then she got like a week worth of break where she was like, I'm getting married, I'm now engaged, I have a boyfriend, fiance, yada yada, and then suddenly it's like thrown at her that no, I gotta go back to the Hunger Games style games where I just winner chicken dinner, you know. I'm not explaining myself really well right now. This is terrible.
He
No,
went through
you
one thing
think,
after
you
another,
do
and it
think
was
that
pretty hellish.
as soon as she's come to terms with the fact that, you know, the man that she has wanted basically since she saved his life, or maybe a little bit before that when she first saw him, that he actually wants her.
Yeah.
And then they realize that they are, you know, not only are they in love with one another, they're soulmates. They were meant to be together.
And she's just as special as he is. She has
Yes.
all the, I mean, the Pegasi and the Starlight and all that. If she had been a different person in her essence, she wouldn't have been all that.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Not
She might not have been able to understand Alanaria. I can't say that word right. as
Alinari.
Wes did.
Alinari.
Alinari.
Say one person say it for me.
Alinari.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, at the end of Ace and Blue, he sees Gwen's eyes at the end of the book. So
Yes, he does. And hopefully
you
it
can't say she's not made for him.
when he realizes that those were her eyes.
Mhm.
that's probably when his like real like feelings started to show through.
Yeah, but he must have noticed they were her eyes as soon as he laid eyes on her in the.
Well, and
I
Probably, I would say
wanna
no,
say that he
because
lost his memories about stuff like this
I don't know. At some point, he would have realized
because he was dead when he saw the eyes, that he was sort
That's
of
true.
revived back,
he wouldn't remember.
and then I don't think
Oh, he
would
was
have
still
remembered
alive
that
when he saw
really
her eyes. He was still alive when he saw her eyes.
his
Don't you think-
consciousness was
last
alive.
Do you think the
His consciousness
Pegasi
was
was the
alive.
eyes?
like, I agree with what Nancy said. I think like him, like his spirit, if that's the correct word to use, his spirit was alive, but like his body was dead. So once like he sort of stuffed back into his body, it's like, am I really going to remember the last few moments of my consciousness being out of my body? Probably not. But I'm sure that like at some point he looked at her eyes and he was like, those are the eyes I saw. And like, it sort of clicks into your head, fireworks, bang, bang, explosions. Romance.
I think the
Well,
Pegasus
Aeson
maybe set her up that
Aeson
way.
does tell Gwen when he was saved by the Pegasi and survived. I think it was survived. That most of what happened while he was in the other place, we'll just say that, he didn't remember it because it was so disjointed. However, it could have been brought together when they joined.
Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful when they did that.
When the Pegasi joined them,
Yes.
mind melded them.
Yeah, the mind meld.
Mind melded, yeah.
Joint seems a little bit, let's just say, gory with the visuals.
But yeah, I mean that was, there was probably a whole lot more between the two of them that they didn't realize they needed to vocalize, that they saw and realized, oh, that was your eyes. Okay. I thought it was. I wasn't sure.
Didn't see eyes. He didn't actually see eyes. Didn't he just see the color? He wasn't eyes he saw.
I thought
His
it was
eyes.
eyes.
I
He saw
think it
blue
was,
eyes.
I think it was the blue, I think it said blue eyes, not just the color. but-
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was Alakara's eyes and then the color
I
changed to
have it
blue.
open so I can just check. Wait, give me like
You
5
first saw
seconds.
Elikara's eyes, and then it said, but why is it changing? Why is it?
Yeah, because at first he thought it was Alakara but then her eyes were black.
Right,
Brown
It
eyes.
said the
Or
eyes
dark
turned
brown.
blue or something like that, yeah.
right.
Yeah, she was either dark brown
Right,
or
yeah, that's
black.
right. Now I remember, yeah.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not-
it's literally written, another pair of eyes suddenly flickers into being as if poured out of the fabric of the universe, out of the future itself into my present. Introspective, full of alien dreams, intimate, so very blue. They, her eyes, and she herself, this intimate stranger, whoever she is just out of reach, out there beyond my reach. So yes, he saw eyes.
And he knew, at some level, he knew all along that certainly wasn't Lady Tiri's eyes.
Yeah.
So he
Well,
was,
and wasn't Lady
was-
Tiri's hazel? Weren't her
Yeah.
eyes hazel?
I mean, he knew.
I'm not gonna verify that. Her character really did not like
I think those
do
eyes
anything else
haunted
for my
him.
bond.
Do you think he really would have picked her, considering how she treated his sister? He seemed to have a true love for his sister.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he even called her his little dumpling, which was really adorable because dumplings are really tasty. Unrelated to
Yes, he
calling
would
her his little
have.
dumpling.
Had he not met Gwen, he would have, but then they would have all died because when they appeared, there would have been no one to call upon Starlight or to free the Pegasi, so they would have all died.
I'm sure that Tiri could have found a servant to do that. We have to give it up.
Well, and he had other choices too. Tiri wasn't his
Oh,
only.
yeah,
choice.
he did, but
You know,
But
the
she
one that was
the
being
favored choice of his.
well, the favorite
know,
choice
she-
of his father, yeah, but there were other women, and the other women maybe wouldn't have been so mean to Manala. Maybe he would have
Yes, but
chosen one of the other
that
ones.
high end communications equipment, none of those other girls had it. Tiri did because the Imperator gave her
Well, she-
permission.
Well, he was probably calling her because his dad wanted him to.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
she
Probably
had,
could have called any of them.
she was calling him too.
Well, and I think she called him a lot of times.
We
She
don't
called
know.
him more than he
I
called her.
wonder if they have a blocking function and if he blocked like 7 different of her numbers. If she's like one of those crazy stalker types. It seems like a really random tidbit to know about, but it just seems so hilarious. Like if he just blocked her, like block, late T1, T2, T3. I'm just gonna block all of these numbers and we're never gonna talk about it again. No one knows about this. This is complete.
Oh,
top
I
secret.
think Anu blocked a few of those numbers when she phoned.
I think it
Smart
would be
guy.
hard to
Smart guy
ghost
that I know.
someone if you're the crown prince.
Sorry, I did not hear you.
Oh, I said I think it would be hard to ghost somebody if you're the crown prince.
I think
No,
it would
to
be
ghost
easy
somebody,
though.
yeah.
Like you just be like, I'm too busy with my crown prince duties and my
No, you let your
commander
assistants
duties.
take that calls. You give it to Anu to take because he knows Anu will
Yeah, here
handle
talk
it.
to my assistant. Let's move on. I'm never talking to you unless I want to make somebody jealous or show off to my dad that I'm doing what he wants.
Yeah.
I didn't see that was part because not everybody could communicate from Earth. They had to have that high-end communications equipment.
Didn't they have to go through the
Very
arc ship?
expensive. And I'm sure that the Fuari family lost that equipment right after they got back from Earth. They no longer needed it unless she needed to talk to Nafir.
It'd make a great match.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's who she'll end up with.
Give it back.
Except that
Except
Nafir's family
that's
are
something-
fierce loyalists, and her family may not be quite so loyal to the.
that'd
I
make
think
it
they
even more
are. I think they
I
are.
think they
I
still
they
would
are.
be. I mean, the parents
I think
made
it's
Terry
about
apologize and everything, so
They did.
I think
that's
they're
true.
still very strong loyalists.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just so sad that her entire life she just sort of was cultivated to be the crown prince's bride when eventually she just sort of lost that position. Like it explains lots of her arrogance on certain things and things like the way that she treats Manala. Obviously, it's because she thinks that she can do that. Because she's supposed to be his sister-in-law, so her
But there will
sister-in-law.
be a lot of other high court guys standing in the queue in the line to marry her because of
Absolutely.
the position that she has and the status and that stuff.
At least her
She-
brother
she
will
would
marry,
not
better
be-
marry somebody nice. I don't know that her dad would have.
Do we know, is Terry the same age as Asen?
Probably.
I-
close, but
We don't know.
we don't know
Yes,
for
but
sure.
We don't really know.
I'd say
Oh.
if they did have an age difference, it would be of maximum 2 years, nothing more than that. Because it just seems improbable for his father to have somebody, first of all, who's much younger than him, because then that would mean that like he'd have to do his family, the royal family would have to handle quite a lot more, and expectations of a much younger person are you can't expect somebody much younger than you to handle as much as somebody who's almost the same age as you would, because then the expected maturity level is different.
Well, yeah, because they're considered adults at 16, I think.
And you have to remember, Gwen is way younger than that. She's like 14.
Yeah,
in-
by the
in
time when they get
Atlantean
married,
years.
she's like 14.
She's really young. She's on the far
my.
young edge of that. And I'm
I
guessing
remember
Terry
that
is,
much.
yeah, Terry is at least 16 or 17 in Atlantean years, but I'm guessing she might be more like 18.
I think
Yeah,
that would
I'm
be
thinking she might be a year younger, or she might be the same age.
Right.
We know that Ala, Arita, Care, and Zell are all the same age as Asen, because they were all in the same
Yeah,
year.
because they were all in the same
Yeah.
class.
I think that the marriage of Tyrion and Nafir would make a really rich source of fan fiction.
Yeah.
If he ever gets to come home.
Let's see it. Someone write it.
So, I just want
If
to
he ever
know,
gets to
have
come
any
home.
of you been able to actually encounter fan fiction? Because I've searched high and low in the depths
It's
of the
out there.
internet.
It's out there.
There's one on Wattpad, I believe, and there's one on fanfiction.net. I think. It's been a bit of a time since I've looked for fan fiction for tags.
I've never looked for
This
it.
seems like such a deserving match. Now that I've said it, I really want to see it happen.
A deserving match.
Yeah, you can put something in all our heads now. Now all I can see is that two together.
But I think Terry, I think with Nafir is basically blacklisted from this point forward as far as Asen's concerned. Terry would not marry him because she cannot stand not to be in that high court center, being invited, Nafir will never probably be invited to Asen's court.
Well,
Yeah.
now he might, because he did help
I was thinking the
Gwen.
same.
the final
know,
battle.
but-
He did help Gwen. Now
He did, but, and
It
maybe Gwen
was-
will talk, maybe Gwen will sweet talk him into,
you know,
letting
was it
Nafir
because
back.
Gwen was now his imperatrice?
yeah.
Sure that helps.
know that
He's much more likely to forgive Nafir than
But would
Asa
Terry
is.
also know what happened? She would not really have any knowledge about the role that Nafir played in Gwen's mom's death, would he?
And you know, and the
Who
thing
didn't
is,
know? I think
too,
Gwen knew. What
No,
were
I
you
mean
saying?
Terry, Lady Terry, she wouldn't know what Nafir
Yeah.
did, so she
Oh,
can't
No,
hold
she
it
wouldn't.
against
You're
she-
right. She,
That's why that
point
match
is-
can work.
that you're right.
She
Maybe
wouldn't
that,
know.
yeah, she doesn't know.
I'm just a
Well,
little
let's-
doubtful of
let's
how
marry
likely
them off.
it is
Let's
for
keep them
like
as a
them to
couple.
get together. Like in my head, I do imagine that Nafir would never actually be invited back, and he'd probably be forced to stay there for communications and some random reason being made up for him to just stay away. Because I
That
mean,
could be-
I like to think that Asen would take revenge and be a little bit petty about this. Like, how can you do this to me? I trusted you. You were my friend. We worked together for such a long time. I don't care if you're an imperial loyalist. In the end, I am going to be the imperator. So,
well,
He's-
the
he's
thing
in
is,
the type that would
the thing is, now that the tables have turned, because Asen is
The Imperator.
the imperator, so imperialists now have to follow him. Now, is Asen going to have the same inner circle that his father had? No.
Some of
definitely
them seem
not.
to be stuck in their spot, like the head of the IEC and the religious one, and
Well, I mean, they're, yeah, I
Are they
mean, they're,
lifetime appointments or do they change with the imperator? That would be interesting to find out.
you'd probably
that's,
need to keep them
that's,
around. for a while
well,
just
the
for-
first priest, I would say that's a lifetime.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I see him and Charles Lark becoming friends.
Yeah.
Well, they were
Surprise me.
going for walks, weren't they? So
I mean, they were starting to, you know,
Yes,
form a relationship with the sarcophagus when, you know, Charles is giving
Right.
all this information. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, well, I can read the ancient Atlantean, but you know more about, you know, how things work.
So like a
So we
collaborative
need to
effort.
pool
at
our
the-
resources.
Yeah, I can see them becoming friends.
I can
Yeah,
also
like-
see
At
Charles
least colleagues.
and Council Danu being real good friends.
oh, for sure.
I mean, they were both going for walks with him in the garden
I
at
see-
the end of Survive, weren't they? So
I
I
can't,
see Cancel Deno's star rising.
Oh, yeah.
How old do we think he is?
oh gosh.
Middle age, maybe?
I would say 40s.
40s.
Only?
I'd say
Say
40s.
you're talking about Consul Danu?
Council Danu, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say he's right around exactly the same age as, I'm guessing maybe he and Devora actually knew each other as children, but I could be
Oh,
wrong.
that's right. That's right.
That they may have gone to school together or something, because they just, you know, I just think he's been around a long time in that circle.
You think only,
Yeah, it would make sense considering how close or like how much Asen trusts
Yeah, the console.
Lord, like I cannot say names anymore. It's like middle of the night for me. Sorry.
Oh,
I should be asleep. I should be asleep.
Where
I
are
have
you?
so much to do.
Where are you?
Uh,
Where are you?
where are you? Is it Gitika? Where,
It's
where
Gitaya. I'm in
Umbala?
India. I'm
you're in
living
India? Okay. So
In
yeah, it's
India.
middle of the night for you.
Did you say
Yeah.
Umbala?
India. Where in India?
I live in West Bengal, so it's most definitely the middle of the night for me. Like 2:40 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Horrible for my sleep schedule, but
Word.
great for fandom content.
Well, we try to vary the times for these. so that like some of them we do in the morning here in the United States, so that it would be more like late afternoon or early evening for you or something like that, you know, a little bit better. So
It's okay. It's a good thing that tomorrow is a Sunday and I already had plans to stay up late. So
And that's why we try to do these, like on, if we're going to do a late night here in the United States, it'll be a Friday. But if it's during the day, we try to do it on a Saturday, so it's pretty much Saturday everywhere.
or
early-
Sunday morning, early
go back
Sunday
to bed.
morning.
Yeah.
I just wonder how many more of like these pre-convention events we're gonna have. This is the last one, I believe, right?
Oh, it's the
No.
last one. We haven't scheduled February yet.
We haven't scheduled February, but the plans are to have one every month.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll try
Well,
to.
we
do
will
it.
have an
When is the
activity, we
convention?
will have some kind of
An
activity
activity
every
of some
month.
kind every month, yeah.
I
When
really
is-
enjoyed the questions that we did in December. That was fun.
Did you have fun with that?
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Good.
I really enjoyed it because I won.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
that's right. Rachel.
And while I've got you on the phone, got you here on Zoom, the address that you submitted on your registration, that is your correct address?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
And I
'cause,
like
um,
Wait a
Vera
minute,
Vera-
I
will-
won
just
one of
wanna
the-
say that.
I enjoyed it even if I didn't win. I thought it was fun.
For people who
I'm
won
so
things,
sad I missed it.
I think a lot of you won day, the month of
Really?
giveaways. So Vera will be sending those out shortly, I would think,
Yeah.
as soon as she has.
Can I?
And
ask
most of the
just ask
people
a
who won
question?
continued to
Sure, Harry.
participate anyway.
Right.
It was for the fun of it, you know.
Yeah.
so.
What is it, Harriet?
If you want something, are you allowed to gift it to somebody else?
You mean
Sure.
somebody else on the,
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
that's, I don't know.
I see no reason, but it's just, that's not something we've been asked.
Yeah. I mean, it would have
The
to be
reason
somebody
why
who
I ask you is I already have one of the
charms.
ones that I won now during this December month, and I wanted to gift it to somebody that is on the TACON that didn't get
The Discord.
one.
It would have to be someone on Discord, because then we'd have their information.
Not
Yeah,
necessarily. If, as long as they're registered, we have their address.
Yeah,
Ask her
registered
if
for the
she's- I'll
con.
ask her if she's registered. I think so.
That's very nice.
It is.
Yeah, that's so nice of you. I would not do it. I'm going to be a little selfish. I would want to keep all the prizes for myself.
No, but I already have one.
Well,
I
now,
don't mind, if I'm not allowed to give it away, then I would keep it, but I just thought that she would love it. So I thought, let me ask the question.
That's really kind. I think you
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
need to email,
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be a question for Vera to find out.
yeah, I
if
think it
she
is.
wants to
I don't
just send
think
it to somebody else.
Vera won't have a problem. You just need to give the person's name to Vera so she can send it to that person. instead of
And the
sending it to
address,
you.
I have her address
Yeah,
and her name, so
Yeah.
I could, if it's
I guess
allowed,
it would
then
be best to
send
just
it
ask
on-
her if she's registered or get her address or something, so that you can just be like, email it to, like, send it to here instead of my address.
It would,
You know,
it would,
for last year's con, the 2021 con, I won 3 things. I think I have not received it yet because our post office it's useless. It's like,
that's terrible.
I don't even want to risk that one sent to me.
I think you should do it as quickly as possible, and it will certainly save Vera a lot of money from the
Yeah.
shipping,
Yeah, because it is in America. It's to
Yeah, even if it's a small
Louisiana,
item.
to
Yeah.
Louisiana.
There's no reason for her to spend extra money to ship to South Africa.
Yeah.
If it's something that she could ship to somebody. closer.
okay, Harriet, you said Lucy?
Louisiana.
that-
She is registered.
Okay, so you know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if it could go to her, I would really love
We could
that.
just change the winner's name on the spreadsheet, Nancy, couldn't we?
Yeah.
I would give
we
I
Eric.
need
think,
to
I
check
think
with-
that would be the easiest way, actually.
We need to check with Terry on that.
Well, I don't know why
I
it
know
would be
she was-
hard.
Well, I know she was emailing everyone and I don't know if she's emailed it or not.
But if she emailed, it would have gone to Harriet, and so all we have to do is.
I
tell
haven't
Harry
received
who
any
the new
emails
person
yet,
is.
so.
Yeah,
I think
Okay,
maybe we'll get back to you, Harriet,
yeah.
and once we figure it out.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And we'll let you know. Speaking of which, we do have the day 30 has not responded. And we said that we would redo that today.
That's right.
You had day 30, did you not?
I had day 30. Nydia.
Okay. Would you pick another number and tell us who that person is, please?
Sure, hang on one sec. It's gonna take me a couple minutes because I gotta fumble through things again.
Well, you don't have to do it right this second.
Yeah, you don't have to. do it
Oh,
right now.
okay, all right. I thought you were gonna announce it here. Okay, yeah. I'll
Well,
go
we
do
are going
that.
to announce it before we leave. So,
All right, well, I'll go and randomize things. I gotta figure out what my N was before I do randomize in number. of
That should be on the
variables.
spreadsheet. The end.
Yes,
should be
that's
on
where
the
I'm heading.
spreadsheet.
That's why I said,
Yeah.
hang on.
But then you have to
I
go
thought we'd
count
do
through the
that while
people
we're-
again to find out which person belongs to that random number, and then
Give it to Lucy.
sometimes
and
it's a
give Harriet.
winner and sometimes it's not.
I have
You
a
should just-
winter weather advisory starting this afternoon.
Oh, what
Ooh,
fun.
we
cool.
had ours
We had
started
13
yesterday.
today.
Freezing drizzle. I hate that.
Me too.
Creating a light glaze and slippery roads and sidewalks. I
I sent
hate
one
that.
out a
I
couple of
hate- I
years
hate-
ago
I
on
hate-
freezing
I
rain.
hate freezing drizzle more than anything.
Oh, I won't tell you
Okay,
what
let
it's
me
like
go
here
find-
then.
Look, I've got a number. Let me see, but I've got to go and check and see if they wanted to get before,
Yeah,
and all that.
I had to check for my person on the 29th. I had to go through 4 numbers before I found somebody who hadn't
Uh-huh.
already won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I did 3 with this one. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm scanning through Facebook.
You should just give it to Lucy and then give Harriet the 30.
We can do that.
That
This is
wouldn't save her any
Okay.
money, but
I thought
Yeah.
Lucy.
But I'll
won
do it fair.
something.
I'll do it fairly. Let me go and see. All right, so that was one Mary put up for me. because
Lucy's
I-
already won one.
Yeah, I thought she did.
Yeah, so let me go find.
But she's actually, or she would actually be kicked right out.
Oh, is that the purple charm?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the violet charm.
Oh,
19 comments on this day. So let me count. Number 8's my thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got Diane Bourne. So
How do
now
you
we
spell
need
the last name?
BORN.
Okay, I don't think I remember that.
Doesn't sound
No,
familiar.
that doesn't sound familiar, so, and
We need to-
hopefully she's registered for the con.
Yeah, that's my next thing. Hang on.
Yeah, I know.
Y'all didn't know we went through all this, did you?
Yeah, we have to go through all these
All right.
every
I
time.
realized it was so hard for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
We
feel
try-
pretty.
We just try to be
I would
fair.
offer to help, but I'm
Yes,
not sure
she
if I could
is.
offer any help.
She is registered.
good.
But let me see if she's got a handle for,
Yeah, is she on Discord?
that's the next one. Lady D.
That's probably. That's good.
Okay.
No, you're
So
good.
do you want, so I'm gonna go update the spreadsheet.
Yay. I tell you, the modern technology that allows us to do all this is really pretty amazing.
Impressive.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
share the spreadsheet and on Google Docs. And
I'm getting pretty good at that, actually.
yeah, we're all getting pretty good at all
Y'all,
that.
y'all think there's a reason we have you get onto Discord now? And that the whole point is we want you to be good at it by the time we get around to all the trivia games and
All the
all
con
that. There's a
events.
method to our madness.
You could just ask someone who already is made like a server, like I don't know if any of you are on any servers. I would doubt, because it just seems unlikely to be on tons of Discord servers.
Oh, no, just, I'm
on a
only on
few.
tag ones, yeah.
The
Yeah,
only,
but like
only
I'm on a
server-
bunch of different servers, and I'm pretty close to lots of like server owners and the likes. So I mean,
Yeah.
I could ask them if you want. I wouldn't mind that. And we're pretty close. Like all of them are my friends, so it's fine if I ask them about something like this.
But what would you
On
ask?
one other Discord server, but I don't go on it very often.
Yeah, I have tons of them. I'm not super active on every one of them. I'm just active on like 2 or 3. So
I'm not very good at Discord. The last time I was on a chat room or any of that was AOL. I've been on the internet since the early 90s. I want you to know. And when it was
that feels like a
2500
long time ago.
baud and
I was
things
not
like
alive.
that. Holy
I
goddamn.
was not alive at that point.
See, I can't even
so
imagine people born after, the internet.
I
it's
know.
just like, I
When
was
I
born
had, when I
TV
first
set.
had it, I had dial-up.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's what I
dial-up,
was talking about, 2500 baud per second. So
Yep.
Yeah.
1990,
start
I
here and you
think.
would wow.
I mean,
Go
my
down.
first
9600 was lightning.
computer, my first computer didn't even have a hard drive. You had to boot it with floppy.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, the
And it
floppy
was 2
disk,
mega,
yeah.
it was 2 megabytes.
I think
Yeah,
my
mine was too.
hard
It's
drive
funny
was like
that our first computers had less storage space than
32
anything has
megabytes.
just memory now. It's
yeah,
Exactly.
32
This-
megabytes or
This
something like
does
that.
more than any computer did when I learned to use computers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
I had to
Yeah,
because
I
I
feel
work.
like I
you know,
should really offer my help. I don't know if anybody would want it, but I'm still offering it. The offer
Thank
is
you.
open.
Thank you.
but Shelley, did you have to learn computers at work? That's what I had to. We're both science geeks.
Well,
It was all
I
we
just,
had to.
in my building, I was in a training department at a mental health institution. And the building that my team was in had a room that had this Apple IIe or whatever in it.
Uh-huh.
And nobody was using it. And we had to make a memo or to make a handout for our training class. I would have to call in to the stenographer's office and record what I wanted in the memo, including all the spacing and the punctuation,
You had to get people to type things.
I got so tired and then wait 2 to 5 or 6 days to get it back to edit it. And it's like, come
And then
on.
it went back.
I found that computer and I taught myself and started doing all my own things. That's how I learned computers.
We had this
That's
huge word
amazing.
processor. Same thing. I learned how to use. The only person who knew how to use it was admin, but I got so frustrated. The same thing. But I was kid generation with the first TVs, and now my kids are the first generation with computers. So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I feel really young, which is unlikely.
That's okay.
Harriet,
No.
just for our bookkeeping purposes, go over to Discord and under your day where you won, said, I would like to donate my win to, and give the person's name.
Good idea.
Okay.
Writing.
You got to
I
get
will
it. So you know it's
now,
in
now.
there.
Great idea, Nancy.
That's
When we
such
got
a
a
good
paper
idea.
trail.
Yeah. And Liz, I bet for computers for you guys, you went from nothing in your hotel to now you're, everything, all the reservations and everything you guys had to learn.
I had to go have lessons. I had to go to the other island. I had to go over to Egina. And I remember our first lesson was how to turn it on and how to turn it off.
That's important.
That is so important. It's true. The battery
Turning
leaks
it
like
off.
crazy. Your device lags like crazy if you don't turn it off. Like
I
enough
remember when I
time in your
started
life.
teaching, turning off things with a mimeograph. Having that
So what do you think is going to
Oh,
be,
dittos.
those smelly things.
Yeah, they smelled
yes,
so
I
good.
did those.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
I remember doing
remember
the,
making, yes.
When they-
making
when
the,
the teacher would bring in brand new dittos and they would smell so good.
It didn't smell good when you were doing them.
Oh, it would
I've
for a
only
while
seen-
and then it would get overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
What do you
Maybe I
think,
did
if,
one
for those of
day.
us who grew up in the television era and then those who grew up in the computer internet, what's the next thing that's going to, that you younger people, your children and their children are going, what is going to
It
be?
will all be VR. There won't be
The
any.
metaverse, the
Yeah,
metaverse.
that's scary.
It'll be the metaverse.
Or
That's-
There'll definitely be all like fully a full like fully fleshed out virtual world just like ours, like maybe even better than ours. Let's just say
Oh, like-
in terms of technology,
like Ready Player
capabilities
One?
and what you can make.
We've talked about this before. I'm way older than almost everybody here. I mean, when I was a kid, it was black and white TV. Then they went to color.
Yeah.
TV. I mean,
Yep. Oh,
we're-
yeah. Same
no
here.
cell phones. You're
We're all about the same age.
Yeah. well,
Yeah.
I don't know
You
that
know, you
anybody
might-
can actually
get-
predict
you
that
broke
though,
down. If you
because a
broke
lot of
down,
us
you
couldn't
had to
have
go
predicted
walk
what's
to the
happening
phone.
now.
No.
Yeah.
I think
mean,
that
the
a lot
truth
of the big thing often it doesn't
Is
exactly
different.
come out of nowhere, but I think it's almost unpredictable what is going to be the next major leap in technology.
On the
Oh.
other hand, when I
Just know
was a
Heinlein-
kid,
Heinlein
some of the
predicted
biggest-
cell phones, and Star Trek predicted iPads.
yeah, they did.
And my grandpa used to tell me when I was a kid that when I grew up, I'd be able to talk to people on my watch.
Well, that's just
and I
it.
can.
That was
was
Dick
a-
Tracy.
Yeah, that was from
Right.
Dick Tracy. He really liked it.
Well, just the things that were coming out in the early 60s, that I remember that were predictions of what we would have now. One was, a telephone where you could see the person on the other end, only it looked like a regular dial telephone and then it had a screen attached to it. And
Those
it was this big thing. Well, no, now we have, this.
Right.
And this,
And it's like, it just, yes, we have it, but it's so different from what it was perceived as, 50, 60 years ago.
Well, and they predict it would take a lot of energy to be able to send a picture. And of course, with the cell towers, nobody
It's
predicted.
just totally
And-
different.
yeah.
Yeah, the technology is so different.
Yeah, but that I think that's mostly because if we just look at it right now, let's just say we're looking at our phones and we're just gonna predict technology being like something related to the same kind of design that we do have, or something that is in fiction. And what usually happens is there's going to be some kind of like big technology difference. Like if we're talking about quantum computers, then like obviously you think that it's going to be like a normal PC laptop situation, but it's probably going to be so completely different that you're going to be like, oh, I never could have thought that would have been coming about. Same thing with like
When you're 70, it'll be something you never thought of.
Yeah, when you're
Wonder
our
if
age.
they're gonna
it'll be-
do-
You just won't believe it.
Yeah.
You'll look
We
back.
have so many.
I
we have
imagine
so
I
many
wouldn't be
kids
alive
that-
at 70 for
20.
sure.
We have so many kids that are autistic. I mean, the numbers are increasing, and I suspect
I think
things
it's
like
just
pesticides and all the stuff
Chemical.
where we're exposed
No,
to.
Nydia,
I
what
wonder if
really-
some of the technology is going to be aimed at helping those.
I think as far as the increase in those on the autism spectrum is they're finding more and more
Yeah,
of the,
they're finding it. There isn't more
that were
people
never
with it,
reported.
finding them better.
Well, yeah, of course, because they did. My brother was Asperger's,
Mhm.
and that diagnosis did not exist.
Right.
no, he was
So,
just,
and that's very possible. But I'm wondering if that we're recognizing these things, and I'm wondering if the technology is going to go to helping people with disabilities.
It
It would be
when we
nice
have
if they
some-
did, but I
It
don't
would be
see it
nice.
happening.
It's a nice thought. Yeah.
But
I
it is a
think
nice
We're going
thought.
to come up with I think some of the things they're working on now with energy and at like cell energy. I can't even describe it, but
Mhm.
like the Lucerne, what is that called? Accelerator,
oh, it's the hadron,
Hadron collider?
it's
Some
the
of the things they're
hadron.
working on that we don't even know exactly, most of us can't even, like me, describe it. that's going to turn into some whole new source of energy that's going to change. It's going to have a quantum change in how we live.
I kind of wondered out. I wondered out
change
loud. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
economies. I don't know. Just
I was
think-
wondering out loud at the gym whether it wouldn't it be cool if we could harness all the work, and I mean work in a physical chemistry version that's going on in a gym and make electricity and make power. I mean, that's a possibility.
It
We
is.
all-
Actually, you know,
Every
there's
machine could-
kind of matrix.
There's
But I'm thinking that it won't even be,
similar.
it'll be electricity, but it'll be delivered in a whole different way, you
Yeah,
know?
it won't be anything that we recognize.
It
It'll
won't be something we recognize. And
Yeah.
Right now, like technology for us right now is telephone lines, and you have cables, cords, and stuff like that. But like, you know, magnetic charging, like wireless charging has already come about. So that's obviously going to improve. People want that to be an actual thing. So like you probably be able to have charging stations everywhere. Like you just keep your phone here and then it's suddenly charging, you know?
You're on the
Like-
treadmill and you're powering it like a little hamster going around.
well, I'm sure they can
No, the
already do
thing
that.
is-
That isn't that hard.
Yeah,
No,
they
it's
they
not.
already do that in some things.
Energy.
Stuff like
it's
that
just-
exists for
the
humans. as
cost
well.
of setting it up might not be worth the amount of energy you'd actually get out of it. I don't know.
Well, if you don't
That's
have any
true.
more fossil fuels left, you know.
We don't have fossil fuels left. But the thing with talks about energy is that there's like for every single method that they put forward, let's just talk about solar, hydro, wind, and all, they're gonna give you a list of all the things that you can't, like that would be problems for it. And like the only solution that there is you use all these types of energies. You know, you have solar, and on days it's like rainy, you use wind. On days it's like, you know, it's like completely dark at nights, let's just say you use like hydropower. So like obviously
That's what capacitors are for, is to hold that.
Well, and our
Power.
environmental issues,
Batteries.
for instance,
My
wind
brother-
power, there
I was
are
talking with
environmental
that.
issues with that they
Yeah.
don't talk about.
Well, and
was
they don't talk about the
like-
amount of energy it takes to make one of those windmills.
Well, and they don't last forever, and they kill birds. Poor things, as they slap into those things,
Yeah,
and they make
yeah.
a lot of noise.
I was talking with my brother in Australia his scientific knowledge is amazing. He reads all these books. Apparently they're setting up a world grid of underwater cables to take electricity from like places in Australia where it's 90% sunshine in the middle of the state, you know, in the middle of the country, never sees rain. They've got power all day. Then there's the other side of the world's got power, and when Australia doesn't, and it'll all be connected, and the power will go to everybody, everywhere, from everybody.
And that could happen. Remember, you know, people never thought they'd be able to run telephone lines across the Pacific Ocean, but they
Yes.
have.
But they have, right?
Yeah. Guys, I gotta go. I've got something else going on this afternoon. Been great talking to everybody.
Yeah, I
You
just
too,
had
Nadia.
love too, so.
Hope your allergies are feeling better. Hope you're feeling better.
A little bit.
yeah.
I'm supposed to go to church, and I'm just hoping that I don't start sneezing like crazy because it's allergies. But people are so worried about COVID.
Oh my
People
gosh.
wearing a
I mean,
mask.
yeah,
It's like I almost like maybe I shouldn't go tonight, but I think I'm okay. So
I mean,
I mean,
it's
we
better
have to
be
even
safe
treat
than
somebody
sorry.
that's, you know, if they're sneezing and stuff from allergies, we have to treat their active COVID cases and make them get tested now.
Yeah.
my allergist made me get tested when I had a sinus infection. It was negative, but my daughter swears I'm immune because she and my husband had COVID in the house, and I never got it. So he said, we have subclinical case. I said, well, I got my plasma tested, and I was negative as anything.
Mhm.
Well, it's nice things when
Lots
you
of
do platelets.
people got COVID and didn't even know about it because like
Well,
the
yeah.
testing is based on how much like of the virus you have inside your body. So it isn't totally accurate either. Like it's based
Well, I had
on,
a
oh,
pla-
there's a
I had a
certain level that
plasma-
you're considered
I
COVID
had an
positive.
antibody antigen react test done because I donate platelets. So they were looking.
Yeah.
So I know I wasn't subclinical.
No, because we can tell that as a scientist who works on this.
Mhm.
I can tell you that we can tell. We can tell if you've been exposed. We can tell if you've had it. We can tell if you've had the immunizations. 'Cause
Yeah, I saw that.
You said you
I
did a
react-
blood test. So we would have, the testing that's available for that is solid. We're on
Yeah,
solid
it
ground
is.
with that. So if they
It
told you
is.
you didn't have it, you don't.
I didn't have it. And then when I got my vaccine, they had 2 tests. This is the Red Cross, one for COVID and one for the vaccine. And the vaccine's coming up reactive, which is great. So that meant I had antibodies. So, and not everybody develops antibodies to COVID. There's one poor health worker here in our state. They had to get 6 immunizations for COVID before she finally developed a titer. In other words, she had antibodies.
Yeah.
And that's
Wow.
why a lot of times you'll get breakthroughs. It's
I
not
had a tech-
necessarily because the vaccine wasn't a good
No,
person may
we
not
had a
have
tech we
developed
had to
antibody.
send 5 times for the rabies
I
until we
believe.
could get a readable titer.
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to work in that field too. So, you know, it's been a while. I was
And then
in
there's some
7th.
folks with natural immunity.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I have no idea why.
Yeah, we don't know
you
why
know.
anybody has that yet.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
both of them had active cases. They came back with a negative fast COVID, 2 negative fast COVID tests. We only discovered they had it when they both gave platelets about the same time I did.
So then they ran PCR.
I have no idea. I doubt they ran PCR. It was one of those quick tests where they got it back like
Yeah.
very quickly.
I gotta
Uh,
go too, guys. I just had an alarm go off, so I gotta
Yeah, I do
take
too.
off. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was
I'll-
enjoyable.
See you guys
So
later.
Because
I'll
these
see you
tests
guys
are-
soon at some point. All right,
These
bye.
tests are just, they're, they have a 10% they can be wrong 10% of the time. So they can say yes and be wrong 10% of the time. And they can say no and be wrong 10% of the time.
You're talking about the quick test?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, the boxes, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we don't have those. You have to go to a the
Nick.
facility which provides tests. You don't have like the box tests. Actually, they came in, I
Well,
think,
that's
quite
a-
recently.
That's a clinical test. I have the box at home because I'm rewriting the standard operating procedure for using it. It's an empty box, but the test has to stay at the laboratory.
Are they
I
gonna have us swab our throats instead of, and, no?
No, we need it in the nasal pharynx because that's where it lives. You
Well,
wouldn't like
actually,
that-
but I've been reading a lot now that's saying it's almost better to swab the inside of your mouth and your throat because it's more of it's living there in the Omicron version anyway,
Ah,
than up in the nasal cavity. And
I haven't gotten that information from the NIH or the CDC yet.
yeah,
and
it's
we-
just come out
we
in the
start
last
testing
week
there.
or
They
so.
said, they told us that on the news last night, that
Yeah.
the throat is better, but it has to be done by a professional, not, you can't do it yourself.
Well, it's
Yeah.
hard, and it's hard to do to people.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a trick from a really old nurse. She told me that when you were doing throat swabs, because you always get coughed on. I mean,
Oh,
you know. And so she said,
It's a natural response.
yeah.
well, right. So there's a way to
It
get
would
around
be.
it. And so if you have to get your throat swabbed, you can do this and you won't cough on the poor
Oh,
soul
yeah,
that's
yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
So you tell people to push their belly button out.
Oh,
Take in a deep breath and push out your belly button. I'm going to swab the back of your throat once, twice, 3 times. Then I'm going to take it out and then you can let your breath out. And about 90% of the time it works.
That's a cool trick to
Good
know.
clue.
Yeah, in the UK, we all have the test kits ourselves. We have to test twice a week. So I've been
Really?
doing that every week since March.
twice a week,
Nothing like that in
everybody?
India.
No, not everybody. If you're going to work or school or whatever, right?
Yeah, so anybody who's mixing with people was encouraged. So unless you were somebody that was really at home all the time, then just about everybody else was encouraged to test twice a week.
Interesting.
Kids who go to high to
Plus, we really
overseas.
haven't had the availability.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a home test, but I took one before Christmas when I went to my sister's in Omaha. I did it the day before I left, just to be sure, just to have some some security that I wasn't going to be infectious or anything.
Yeah.
And
I
Very
imagine
responsible of
at this point. Actually, it's pretty lax in India. Like lots of people who don't follow the rules and lots
Oh,
of people who
same
don't
here.
enforce the rules. So I've just stayed at home for the past 2 years, holed up inside my room. It's been fantastic for me. I've just read so much.
so can I ask, I know it may be rude, but how old are you?
I'm I'm 18.
You what?
It's not rude. I'm
Oh,
18.
word. It's a
18.
baby.
So you don't have to go out and work yet, probably.
No, I had like some days of school last year. So like for stuff like that, I still was like, I don't want to go because it seems like, and my school's quite like small. So if there's more than like 4 people in the classroom, it feels crowded already. So I was like, maybe
That's why you like Logan, because you're the same age as he.
Exactly.
let me just be clear, I do not like Logan as much as I like Asen. All my friends can testify. They're sick of me talking about Asen. They're just like, can you shut up already? Like, stop it. We're done.
Come here, you. Come here.
Tell them to read the book.
Come here.
Oh yeah, tons of my friends have read the book. I've been trying to get everybody I know to read the book, so every time I make a reference, they understand.
Oh, hi, Ethan.
This is Asen.
Hi.
He's getting cuter, if anything, Nancy. How is that possible?
Well, all I can say is when I had, the first week in November, I had vacation because it was my birthday week. And then I won the lottery for Thanksgiving week. So I was on vacation, worked a couple of weeks, was on vacation, worked a week, kids came down with COVID, 2 weeks quarantine. Went to work 2 weeks, but they were the holiday weeks, so I only worked 4 days. Worked last week this past week was my full week. I had this next week scheduled as vacation.
Oh my gosh.
Had me more. And now he's suffering, poor baby, from separation anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh no. I've heard horror stories of that happening to tons of pets. For people who got them during the pandemic were able to stay 24/7 nearby, and then suddenly you have to go to work and school, and then it's like, oh, that's a whole thing.
It is.
Yes.
Asen is 3. I helped deliver him when he was born. When he was born, he was a real light gold with darker spots just around the eyes. Well, that made him Asen.
I see why you would have named your dog Asen because of that. I totally get it.
But as he's gotten older, he's gotten he's got the definite spots. And
Let me show you my Asen. Oh, you can't see.
Your little grandson, he's gorgeous.
oh, he is beautiful.
Oh my God, he's adorable.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
He was here for 3 nights. Oh, they fetched him this afternoon. I said to John, my husband, the house is so quiet without that child now. Because he's so attached to me. I can't leave the room without him. He's so cute.
Adorable.
Also gonna
I personally don't like kids, but I can find them adorable. Like I wouldn't have kids, but I find them adorable.
This one is sweet. He has such a lovely personality. He's very.
Let's say hi.
Smiles all the time. Since he was born, he's such a lovely. He hasn't met anybody yet that he doesn't like.
I don't need my own kids. I have 9 nieces and nephews.
Oh.
I've adopted pretty much every child in church, and I have a child in Uganda that I sponsor.
Oh.
I am in a storm with a bunch of 14-year-olds, so I just consider them all my little sisters and brothers. They're coexisting really well. Sense of responsibility, and I hate it. well, I mean, I just really like, I mean, there's like a bunch of my friends and we're all doing like, we're all older than them, but the server is for a book. So it's like a fan server. So the author's there herself. I'm friends with the author. But
Okay.
then she's like 24, I'm 18. There's like a bunch of people in that age range. And then there's just a bunch of 14-year-olds, and they're like the most active group. Like they don't have school, they don't have any responsibilities. They're just chattering away all day long, and they're the most chaotic bunch. And it's just so like, it's nice, but it's also like when you're trying to do something, like say I'm trying to finish my assignment for college, and then there's just a bunch of notification I keep getting bombarded by, and it's just like, I need to like maybe just like step away from like my device entirely, even though
Yes.
that's what I depend on for college.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm active on about 4 different Discords. On one of them, my nickname is Discord Mum.
Discord mom.
I pity
I
you.
will mother anything that's got a pulse.
I mean, I'm saying like good, like I mean like you're doing like a similar job to what I am. I'm basically half a mediator on the server, and
Yeah,
like
I mean,
there's
I'm not
like
officially a mod, but I am sometimes a bit, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Homework.
Yeah, I have 18 grandchildren,
Oh my.
and
that's a lot of
Wow.
my
How many
my
kids?
7-year-old, one of my grandchildren is 7, and he was over at my house. I picked them up a couple days of school, and when I picture that 7-year-old and imagine, and I realize the age difference different, it's more like 9-year-old for Atlantis, but still when I picture that age and imagine them going away and doing that kind of training, it's just amazing to me. He's just a little 7-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just hard for me to imagine that the ages of those kids when they started that.
Yeah.
People rise to the level of the expectation.
Right.
True.
yeah.
True.
At 7, we're not expected to know much about the world, but at 7, like those kids are expected to be able to sort of exist on their own, as like maybe how a teenager would be expected to have their individuality and be able to take care of some things about themselves, and at the point where they're trying to discover about like things about themselves. So
They're all different though. You know, I just told you I have 18 grandchildren. Well, they're in 5 different families, right? And the 7-year-old in one family has way more responsibilities than the 7-year-old in another. So it's very, even within the same culture and the same country. So imagine you put it in a totally different culture, it's all different. But
yeah, like
right,
I
it-
think
with what they're
the only thing that is probably common in like most cultures here, like in like, you know, in our like on Earth. I'm just gonna say Earth because like I'm inside my heart believing that Atlantis is real. We're finally like at some point in my life I'm gonna see it happen. But like in like all of these different cultures, there's so many people who agree like the eldest child like probably has the most responsibilities, being the eldest, whatever age they are, like whether you're 5 or like 10 years old, 20 years old, doesn't matter. You're probably gonna be like heaped on with like responsibilities for like family expectations, taking care of your siblings, stuff like that. So like I totally relate to that
I think
though.
that's
Like,
true. I think eldest kids get more put on them.
Oh,
Hello.
that-
do.
And I was
yeah.
the youngest,
Oh.
so.
Oh, yes.
I'm
everything
the
the
eldest,
eldest
so yes.
daughter
You
of
get in trouble for
17,
everything
and
you
I
do.
had to help bring up the other ones, and I was not much
exactly.
older than
One
them.
of,
It's just how it is.
Yeah.
One of my friends is like 17 years old, and she's practically like taking care of all of her siblings like full time. Like she has no time to sleep, no time to do any of her own things, no time to meet her boyfriend, nothing at all. Like it's all day, every day.
He
just
has a
taking care of
boyfriend
her
taking
siblings.
care of
She has time
I'm
for,
so jealous of her. I don't have a boyfriend. I've been holed up in my room for the last 3 years. I've barely had any human interaction outside of online interactions. So, I mean, her saying that she's a boyfriend, I was just like, you should not flaunt in like an entire server full of people who are single and very much will like take you as a target to get it out on. Like, be like, like jokingly be mean to you about it. Like, how dare you talk about your boyfriend in here? Don't you see we all are single? Like, no, we don't mention this topic of romance here. Yeah, but I imagine that it's like, for me personally, it's like hard to imagine being in a relationship with someone. Like, not because I don't want to be in a relationship, it's just like I have very high expectations. Maybe it's from like reading all of like so many books, but like
Expectations
whole
of
part-
yourself or the boy?
for both. For
Equal
both.
expectations.
Don't
How
expect
many
Too many
PhDs will your
You
husband
get
require?
bombarded with really interesting, amazing young men every single time you read a book, and then you're like, can I really find somebody like that in real life? I wonder.
Make sure that you pick an Asen and not a Logan. You don't want someone you would settle for. You want someone
You want to find somebody who enjoys the same kinds of books you do, and that would probably do it.
Somebody that makes you laugh.
Somebody who makes you laugh, yeah.
Oh,
Life
respect
advice.
for
I'm
you.
writing it down. Give me a second. I'll write all of this down. I'll make a book out of it. Life advice.
Don't wait for Asen.
Here's a general tag question. For you individually, what drew you and kept you so focused on those books for so long? Was it the romance, the development of the relationship, mainly of Gwen and Asen, but also of some of the secondary characters? Or was it the action and the danger that was described in all of the different books? What kept you coming back for more?
This is a good question. I've actually thought about this a bunch of times. But when I first came across TAG, it was the time that I was mainly reading dystopian fiction. So I was like, hey, another one of those books, and I can just pick it up and it'll be like fueling my, like my appetite for it.
Yeah.
I started reading and I was so happy about the fact that it was like, my first thought was, oh, it's something like Hunger Games. And I really liked Hunger Games. So I just started reading the next book. And then because there was nothing after Compete and it was left on such a big cliffhanger, I read the first two books. I've lost count at this point.
Yeah.
It was like a period of like, it was years and I just kept rereading the same two books over and over. And there was a period of time where I would read nothing but Qualify and Compete. And I was like, am I like actually losing my mind, or is this like actually so amazing that like I can't put it down? And I just kept rereading the same few books for like a good week. Like, it was just this, and the thing is, I read really fast. So when I started reading Qualify and Compete, I finished it in almost like a day.
Oh my God.
So it was just like 2-3 years of just repeating Qualify, Compete, Qualify, Compete, Qualify, Compete. And then Win came out and I read that a bunch of times.
I cannot even imagine doing that. As soon as I finished, I was like, I need to buy Win. Where's Win?
It didn't exist.
Okay, Liz, shall we tell them about you waking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning from halfway across the world? Seriously, when the forum first started, Win was being doled out like
chapter
on Wattpad,
on Wattpad.
I would get it because Vera was always, everybody in the US was asleep, but Vera was awake in the middle of the night writing the story, and then she would post it before she went to bed. So I got to read it before they did in the US.
And then I would get this, Nancy, wake up, there's a new chapter. And then I'd look on the forum, or I'd see my announcements, oh, there's a new chapter, I'd read the chapter, and there would already be, Liz, Nancy, hurry up and read it. Come on, wake up. And this,
I love that Wattpad chapters, and I also love the comments.
It was like, for her, it was like midnight. Me, it was, or no, it was evening for you.
Morning.
Because you're 8 hours ahead of me, or 7 hours. But it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm getting awakened at And now she can actually message me on Facebook, and she can't. I mean, she was waking me up, and I'd look up, Nancy, hurry up, wake up, the new chapter's out.
Did most
I
people
was on
like
the
the one?
forum at that time as well. I remember seeing a lot of posts from Liz and you. I mean, I'm not really sure how to address you because I feel like inside my heart I should call you auntie or something. That would be awkward.
That's a very Indian, yeah, auntie.
Okay, on the forum, I am Aunt Nan.
Exactly. So now I'm confused.
If you want to call me that, that is perfectly okay.
I would I'll just say whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with
That's
aunt,
fine.
I'm happy to say aunt.
That's
So
fine.
yeah, but I remember when I joined the forum, I first joined the forum with an alias, and then I eventually ended up using my real name because I forgot the password of the other account. So I was like, oh, now I have to navigate it all over again. But I remember just seeing so many posts. There were only a few times I said something because I was like, I feel awkward barging into a conversation.
Oh,
But I am not active on the forums mostly because I just have a lot of things going on right now. But as soon as I could catch up, and that was 4 days ago, I was looking through some of the posts and I'm like, I'm overwhelmed with information. I need to stop and go read the book and then maybe come back and see what everything is everybody's saying who and what.
The forum can be very daunting because Liz and I have been communicating on the forum for years. And you can tell by looking at the dates.
Exactly. The thing is, no, I've been probably there from the beginning. Probably. I say, or close to the beginning at least.
What was your first name? What was the first name?
The first name was Annalise Walters. The second one was my own name. So I don't remember if there were any posts that I made that any of you replied to on the first one, because I don't really remember much because it was such a long time ago. It's practically 6-7 years ago that I joined the forum, maybe more than that. I have literally no memory of that happening anymore. But it was just, I was young and all of you were much older than me. And I was just maybe I should just keep my mouth shut.
Wow. You would have been only 13 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, wait. No, I think I started reading Qualify Compete when I was 12 years old. So yes, I'd probably be 14 because I joined the forum after I realized that there was some previews on Wattpad, which was, according to me, quite late. I would have found it earlier if I had looked for it earlier, if I realized that there was previews. So that was the whole thing. I was just I'm so young. I just do not want to barge into this conversation with a bunch of people older than me. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, scroll through all of these posts, read interesting theories, and make my day better. Yeah, but it was a lot of reading. But okay. So the thing that really drew me into it was because my best friend started reading the books after I prompted her to. And so we would discuss it a lot at school and whenever we were hanging out. So that ended up being another reason why I kept reading the books. And then Win came out, and then school was going on really hard for me that time. So I couldn't really do much other than just talk to my best friend, maybe one of my other friends, and that was it. But yeah, I mean, I was just waiting for Survive to come out so I could finally feel I'd read the complete series. But then there was the whole, oh, there's now a 5th book. So now more waiting. I've cultivated so much patience from this. So much patience. It's incredible. I do not have this much patience normally. I've waited so much. All my friends are you're so patient. And I'm I am not. This is an ordeal. This is, I've won a war against myself.
I guess it's really good that you didn't decide you wanted to read the Game of Thrones books. Because it's been 11 years since he said he was going to write the next one.
Wow. And he still hasn't.
With the,
no, he still has not.
Wind books as well. That's been, I don't know how long since the second book.
Which one is that?
Name of the Wind. There's the Name of the Wind and the Wise Man's Fear, but there's supposed to be another book coming out, but there's been such a massive gap.
Oh,
There has been a
Well,
prologue that we've got on Facebook.
Diana
and on
Gabaldon
YouTube
just
recently, so
did,
it's on the way.
Let the
but
bees
people have been
something.
waiting, have been
yeah,
waiting all
go tell the
year.
bees that I'm gone.
Yeah.
That was 7 years between book number 8 and book number 9, and she's actually starting on 10. I don't think she wants the TV series to get ahead of her like Game of Thrones did.
yeah.
They just got tired of waiting on him and they wrote their own ending.
Or he, yeah,
He
'cause
may
he-
never finish it.
oh, that would just be
think he
really
will.
unfair. Although Neil Gaiman was quoted as saying in George Martin's defense that he is quote unquote not your bitch.
Well,
When
yeah.
people were complaining about him not writing the books. And I was like, well, he kept saying he was going to do it though. I said,
Yeah.
I think I would complain less if he had just said, well, you know, this got ahead of me and then the HBO thing came along and it's been, you know, that really took a lot of my attention. It's not like he's been going to cons because there haven't been any. I was just kind of hoping that the pandemic would help him out of his funk and let him finish.
I don't know, with all the money that he's made off of it, he may just lose motivation because why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are,
You know, I mean, he's not young. He's not a young man anymore.
But I think what probably would have happened, like eventually, even if he did decide to start writing the like whatever book he's on, he'd probably just say, hey, I'm not gonna do it because like, oh, he's on the 7th book.
6 is
my.
due out.
Yeah, but like he'd probably like eventually just be like, hey, I'm not gonna write it since like the TV series are ending, just take it as canon, leave it at that.
But doesn't the writer write because he have to write, like something inside in those words needs to be put down? I think he just suffers from writer's block.
Or he just literally doesn't have anything more to say, you know, that he said everything he wanted to say in it, and that's that. It's hard to know.
From my friend who has a book she's writing, like very frequently, like every single week practically, but she says that the only reason she started writing it was because she couldn't find the book that she wanted to read, like in the genre that she was reading. So she was like, you know what, since I already have this idea in my head, I might as well write it. And like that was her entire motivation. I was like, you know, if you didn't write it, I would have never actually met you and it would have been so tragic. So I'm very thankful. But she was just like, I just couldn't find another book of like, because the genre that she was talking about, it's like quite obscure and there's not a lot of books about it in general. And she found everything that was possible to find. She has like such a good repertoire about all of that. Like she is so well read in that genre. So she gives like amazing recommendations. But she was like, since I couldn't find any more, I might as well just write one and fulfill my own fantasies about everything.
Wow.
Are any of you reading anything wonderful right now?
Oh, well, I'm reading my friend's book and I'm reading lots of books. I read a lot of books at the same time. But I'm reading mostly Asian translated novels right now.
Oh
Can you
my.
hold that up? Julie, can you hold that up again?
Shadows in the Soil.
What's it say under that? I can't read it.
Sorry, human bones and archaeology.
This is what I'm reading.
Archaeology.
Yeah.
All great things.
No, Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult.
I read a book last
It's a
year.
horrible book, but I have to read. It's a novel of a white supremacist and a black nurse. And it's really hard for me to read. It's too close to home for things that have happened in the news and, you know, the last few years. And it's just really hard for me to get through it. It's well written. It's just difficult.
I imagine like most of these topics are difficult to read about. But I say that I leech emotions off of the books I'm reading.
Yeah,
So
that's what I do with this. It's, and it's told from both the Black nurse's point of view and the white supremacist father's point of view. And every time I have to read him, and be in his skin, it's so emotionally difficult for me to do.
I mean, that's a very interesting perspective, the white supremacist father, and I really like that. So maybe I'll pick that up. I think I have lots of things I want to read in the next.
There was a book, she mentioned her friend was writing a book because she couldn't find the book that she wanted. And this lady, Bergstrom, she wrote now she's got a series, but the first one was Cake. And it's a romance. And that's not my usual go-to, but I'm in a book club and somebody in my book club picked it. And it's an online book club. It was before the pandemic because people live all over the world. And so the rule is there's 14 of us. And when it gets to your turn, you pick a book and everybody can read it or not. But if you don't read it, you don't get to kvetch about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, since then I thought a romance was a little of an odd choice for her because she's usually into more hoity-toity literature. But she said she was on vacation and wanted to read something fun, and somebody recommended this book to her, and she was going to get us all to read it because it was actually a good book.
And what's it called?
Cake.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It was a good book. Yes, it had a couple of steamy scenes in it, but they were within the story and you were more invested in the people than the naughty bits.
Yeah.
But this lady wanted to write a romance book about somebody that was in the rock industry. And she did it. And at the end of it, I couldn't kvetch about it because I had to say, no, that was a good story. I liked it. I liked the people. I liked the book. And then she wrote in succession 5 more. And there's another one. The second one is good. But the third one, Fiercely Emma, about the sister. Oh, that one is spectacular. That is a really good story. And I never expected to sit here and tell anybody that a romance series was a really good book and they should read it. But this lady, she doesn't write like a traditional romance novelist. She writes like if you were telling your girlfriends about something. It's just kind of nice.
I see the appeal. Like, so the reason that I've been reading Asian translated novels so much more was because it's a completely different style of writing. Like you have something written in a language and somebody is just, given the task to translate it or they choose to do it. And they are supposed to put across the same ideas and the same kind of like thought process that the author would have had. It's like a very interesting process to see, especially since most of them are ongoing. But like they're all really long, like really, really long. Maybe like I would say longer than Vera's book. Survive even, definitely longer than that.
Wow.
But, so like it's interesting to see like how like ideas are different and like the writing style is completely different. The interaction between authors and readers is completely different because like there's not like an established thing of there are going to be published books and books that are unpublished, but you can still find them online. Like, Wattpad is like a site where you would go to find like these authors who've not published their novels because they don't have they're not able to, but like you'd have all of these like really good books even on Wattpad. But it's something similar to that, but then they get paid for all of this. So, but it's like really interesting to see because like, again, like my friend, she also read the same, like these Asian translated novels. She found a specific genre and she was like, I really, really like this. And she read everything that she could possibly find that was being translated or was already translated. And then she just wrote one herself. It was like, it's a very interesting thought process. The difference in ideas and like how different genres are picked up, and like how writing styles differ, how plot points differ, how like an arc is different from what we would call a character arc in a normal general novel, book, anything fiction. So like there's like a lot of good books, but there's lots of bad ones as well. So it's like a real mix, and you have to really sort through lots to get the good ones. I'm like really grateful that I found really good ones from the beginning. So I had a great experience, but like I could recommend some if you want to read it. But I imagine like there's short stories, and then there's like the longer ones, which are like 700 plus chapters, and each chapter is like, let's say 10 pages. So it's like a lot of reading, and it's like slow-ish. There's one book that's like 711 chapters, and the story, like it's about two people, and the same two people feature in every single chapter most of the time. And it's like slow in terms of like how I would find books, like normal books, and they would just be so much more fast-paced, like stuff is happening. There's a few filler chapters, but everything's just happening in one book. And like in the second book there's something else also happening, like there's an overarching plot, but in these it's like completely different. So there's like this specific genre that I really like. It's called quick transmigration, and it's basically like a bunch of different shorter stories about like featuring the same main character again and again and again and again. And she's like, whoever that main character is, they're just going through lots of different worlds. So like they'd have one where they're like in the modern world, one where they're in a historical, Western fantasy, Eastern fantasy, like it's a lot. I really need to drink water. I talk so much.
I have to get going, but it's been great talking to everybody.
Hopefully, Kathleen.
Do this again in February, right?
I have to go to bed.
Look for it on Facebook or the forum. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, I should go as well.
Okay.
It's going to be 4 a.m. for me. So bye.
Bye.
Okay. Well, it's time to end anyway, so
It is.
thank you, everybody.
Fantastic. I managed to stay till the end.
Nice. Great chat.
Have good evenings
I'm
or
off now.
nights or nights.
Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. This is a lovely chat. Take care. Bye.
You, Harriet.
Bye.
So later.
See ya. See you, Nancy.
Okay, bye, Shelley.
Bye.